Welcome to my video. Today we'll be talking about the scientific method. It is the greatest tool any scientist, whether experienced or brand new, can employ in order to pursue research of a scientific topic or question of interest. Today we'll be talking about whether paper will float with two different factors in the water, soap and not soap, thus asking the question, will it float? To begin, the scientific method is composed of five central components: the purpose or question, the hypothesis, the experiment, the data analysis, and the conclusion. What is the purpose of an experiment? It is to learn whether or not a testable hypothesis can be supported. A hypothesis tries to predict the answer to your problem. You may have seen it written as an if-then statement. A good hypothesis is always testable. Today I'm going to hypothesize the fact that if the paper towel floats, then there is no factor causing it to sink. What makes a good experiment? An experiment is where you can test out your hypothesis. The experimental design should be able to say whether or not the hypothesis is correct or not. You should also write down your procedure in very detailed steps so that somebody can replicate your procedure and support your hypothesis even further. Now on to our experiment. The materials today will be the paper towel cut into 4 rectangles, scissors in order to cut those 4 rectangles, Dawn dish soap in order to change the environment of the room temperature water, a sink in order to pour the room temperature water, and a plastic container in order to hold that room temperature water. Step 1. We're going to cut the paper towel into 4 equilateral rectangles. Try to do this as best as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect as long as they are similar size and shape. Step 2 of the procedure will be filling up the bucket of water with room temperature water. Turn on the sink and go ahead and let the water fill to about halfway. Step 3 is where we will place the first paper towel into the bucket of planned water. As I observed this paper towel for about 30 seconds, I noticed it was able to float continuously. Until I pushed it down with my own finger is when it sunk to the bottom, thus leading me to wonder whether or not I should add a certain substance in order to cause this paper towel to float or sink. In testing whether or not I can get the paper towel to sink, I then added drops of dish soap water into the bucket of water, and then tested several different trials accordingly. In the first trial, the paper towel lasted about 20 seconds. In the second trial, the paper towel lasted about 15.7 seconds, and in the third trial, the paper towel lasted about 13 seconds before it was able to fall down into the bottom of the water. In the results section of your experiment, you're going to write down what happened during the experiment, include any data you collected, and then see where the statistics would be performed. And then through the analysis, you'll see what happened, why it happened, and what to do next following what happened. Results, we found that the paper towel lasted without soap longer than with soap in the water container. Our results found that on average, the paper towel with soap lasted about 16.5 seconds in the water based on the 3 trials. So what does this mean? This means that some sort of factor in the soap caused this paper towel to sink in the water. In order to further test what factor that is, we should find more experiments testing that factor. Conclusion, based on the data you collected, you'll answer whether or not the hypothesis was correct or supported. In my experiment today, my hypothesis was in fact supported because when no factor was present, the paper towel floated continuously. This concludes my experiment today. I hope you learned a little bit about what the scientific method is and how you can use it in order to answer questions based on scientific facts. Thank you for listening.